Mendes, welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you so much.
Super excited to have you here. First of all, I need to apologize on behalf of those people who were filming you in the gym.
Oh, it's
Rudeness.
okay. It's really okay. It's not your fault.
Okay.
Do you, like, when somebody's filming you and you're at the gym, you're like, oh gosh, should I be going hard out here? Or you kind of
What
just
makes me nervous is that I'm just happy I wasn't doing anything too weird in the gym. I was like weirdly squatting on the floor, but I mean, I could have been doing something a lot weirder because a lot of people know about this for some reason. I woke up today and now it's like a thing.
I know,
There's
it's
this
been turned into a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the meme?
It's like, I
Shawn
think,
Mendes is all of us in the gym, and then
Yeah.
you're just like sitting on the rowing machine, like puffing a little bit. But it's
exactly
clear
right.
that you had been working out before.
I hope
so.
it's because, I mean, yeah, it does look like I was doing nothing.
No, that is all good. You're playing Spark Arena on Saturday night, your first headline show here
Yeah.
in New Zealand.
Which is crazy that it's there, too, for my first one ever.
It's like the biggest indoor arena in the country.
Yeah.
So you've skipped like the beginning stages and just
I
gone
have-
boom.
Yeah.
Which song for you is your favorite to perform?
I have one called Bad Reputation. It's off the new album, and I don't know if you guys are gonna come by. Or you're more than welcome to come by if you have a moment. But if you see it live, it's just like I actually got to sit with the people who designed all the lighting and design it like
Wicked.
moment by moment and like drum beat by drum beat, and it's like my favorite moment of the whole show because it's this very like dark, like ominous, huge feeling song, and it's the most rock star part of the whole set.
now speaking of this Saturday, Julia Michaels, she is your opening act and she's phenomenal. Like,
Phenomenal.
just such an incredible chick, the sweetest, kindest person. And how did you decide that you wanted her to open for you?
Well, I was just what happens when you're going on tour and someone's like, okay, who should we look at for opening acts, and then someone says someone like Julia Michaels, you're like, that would be amazing, but she's too cool. Like, she's already like Julia Michaels, do you know what I mean? And so I was kind of at the first, I was like, no way, like we actually could bring her on tour. Like, is that a thing? Because that would be insane. I mean, it's like having your own kind of, she's like her own superstar, you know what I mean? So, and as a writer, I really look up to her. She wrote "Dive" by Ed Sheeran, which is one of my favorite songs of all time right now. And so yeah, I'm honored to have her on tour. And I was the same kind of thing when I had Charlie Puth on tour in America. I was so lucky to have these artists who are not, just starting. They're true, superstars in their own right.
I love the fact that you have these true superstars when you're on tour, but you're not afraid to give shout outs to upcoming artists who you've been listening to. And I love the fact that you do share the love in that way, especially on social media and stuff.
Yeah, I remember being that, and it was like 2 years ago. And so I remember like the first time someone who was verified followed me, like, was a huge deal. And anybody like tweeting out, if you, I believe that if you truly like something, if you're like, whoa, like that song you were just playing, like I genuinely would tweet something about that, because I think it's like, if you actually truly feel that way, just do it, because it makes a big difference in their world. As much as it may be nothing in yours, in their world, it's really big. So, yeah.
Can I just touching on Ed Sheeran's "Dive"? What about that song do you love so much? Like, why is it your favorite?
I don't know. It's mainly just his vocal in the chorus. I mean, like, if there was like a song that I would want to sound like vocally, it's that. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's like I think that's the best his voice has ever sounded on a record before. And it's just like, it's basically like the all end all be all of a record I'd try to create. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Because I would have said that about like "Hearts Don't Break Around Here" or "Perfect."
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Dive is I think Dive is on thinking out loud level.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that's a big call.
Yeah, I really do. I think it's incredible.
We know that you do love a good mashup. When you're at Madison Square Garden, there was the mashup you did of "Never Be Alone" and "Hey There, Delilah."
Yeah.
And then on your MTV Unplugged, you did "Use Somebody," a bit of a mashup with "Treat You Better." Can we expect any mashups on Saturday night?
I'm going to do that. Use Somebody.
Wicked.
Would treat you better. And I don't know. It's kind of, sometimes it's like a very, like, "Hey There, Delilah" was a very on the spot thing that worked. And then I kept doing it. And so I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try and do something with that song. With
Oh
the,
my
gosh.
that'd be cool because
That
they're
would
from
be
here.
dope.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
They
Well,
would-
as you said, that it's catchy straight away, so it would be quite easy for you to learn,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You're
So-
already singing along, and you
I
listened
didn't
to
know
like
what the
5
words were.
seconds of
Yeah.
that. I was like, this is nuts.
When I listen to you sing, when I see you perform, I can tell that it's like your music is in such a deep place, like where your writing's in such a deep emotional place. Did you always know when you were growing up that you'd be singing this way, like singing about like love and heartbreak and that kind of vibe?
No, I had no idea. And I think, the main thing with music, and I think with music that works worldwide, is like when an artist believes it, the world believes it. And it's like very clear. for some reason, humans have this ability to be able to tell when an artist believes themselves. And so that's my main thing. Every time I write a song and I sing a song, if I don't believe it, I just don't go with it. So that's why I feel like everything feels like it's coming from this even really dark place. Even if that hasn't necessarily happened to me, I was always a very dramatic kid, and a kid who could make himself, like I'd bring all these like stories up in my life, and I could bring myself into the position of the person I wrote about. And so, yeah, otherwise the viewer's not going to believe it. And so you have to truly be in it.
So you kind of have to method act in a way, right?
It's a bit, I guess so. It's a bit like method acting. You just have to believe it. And like something I heard from a friend of mine, he said, if it's coming out of your mouth, if the story and the thoughts were from your brain, it's you. It doesn't have to be like what happened to me yesterday on the street. It's literally like, oh, what am I feeling? What do I want to talk about? What do I want to say? And that is you. Right there is you. You just have to believe it, you know?
Totally.
Wow.
I love that.
Same, because it makes me sort of think and be like, I can make up stories. Not like,
You
not
can. No,
to a
that's what
certain
I do.
extent, though.
That's what a lot of songwriters do. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Because you know how usually it's the whole question of like, oh, who'd you write it about? Or like all that kind of jazz.
Sometimes
It doesn't even have to have anybody that you've written about.
No, sometimes it's like inspired by someone, and it's completely embellished. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be like, oh, I ran into this chick on the street who had beautiful eyes, and I wrote a song because we got married and had kids. And it's just not, that didn't happen at all.
But it
it's
would
like,
be amazing
it
if
would
it
be
did.
amazing if it did. Yeah.
My favorite track of yours is Understand.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm interested
And then there's songs like that are very true, word for word about your life. And
Yeah. I'm interested to know, like, do you remember, like, where you were in life when you wrote that song and, like, what you were going through?
Yeah, this was, I mean, I remember exactly, for some reason, out of one of the very few songs, it was like 3 a.m. and we were all just like, I was laying on the floor in this big live room in upstate New York, and it was one of those moments where I was like, God, I don't know what to write about. Like, am I done? Like, do I have it, or do I have anything? And it was like, let's just write about the realest thing I can think of right now. And one thing that I kept hearing from people was, don't change. Do you know what I mean? And I always thought, like, okay, I get what you're saying, but it's like, I don't understand how you can ask somebody not to change when their life changes. You know, I felt like it was a very ignorant thing to say to someone when their whole world is flipping, to be like, stay the same person you were. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be in a bad way. And that's kind of what I was writing about, was just like, I'm just trying to understand my life. You know what I mean? Type
Especially
of thing.
at the age that you're at. Like, you are, like, at the age where everything literally is changing.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
that transitional period from being a kid to being an
Oh
adult.
my God, yeah, and it's insane as it is, but then on top of that, you know, you're traveling the world and experiencing all these crazy things.
That's exactly
And then people
it.
are like, no, just stay the same. You're like, I have no how. Yeah.
I don't even think, like, the
I
same
don't think
for
you can
me
stay the same if
today
you were-
won't be the same for me tomorrow.
Exactly.
So
That's what the song was really about, you know.
I don't know if you'd call it a monologue. I call it a monologue, but like the little speech you do in the middle of that song.
It was kind of just like a stream of consciousness. It was like really late, and it just like was just like I finished it and started speaking, just like I am now. Do you know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and I was like, that was pretty lame. And then everyone was like, no, that was so cool. Leave it in.
Gold. I'm so glad you
Great.
did
Just
leave
not
it
going to
in.
listen to it because it's really weird.
No, it's cool. I love it.
It is really cool, and it kind of makes me think about, you know, you've touched on it a bit briefly about how you want to be authentic, but you also, your life is always changing, and you've made it into the 30 under 30 most influential people in the world. How do you stay true to yourself? Because as you said, like, you're traveling the world, you're in this industry that is so, like, you're pushed out there to the world. How do you stay so true? Because it must be hard sometimes.
My favorite people, the people you guys probably love the most and maybe haven't met or have met, have been the most authentic people I've ever met. Like you know, like Ed Sheeran, for instance. Growing up, he was my number one person. Justin Timberlake, and I met them, and they were just so authentic and so real and so genuine. And I realized very quickly in my career that the only way to become who you want to become is by being real. Faking it is just, one day you're going to get there and you're going to be like, wow, everybody loves this person I created, and I'm going to explode now because I don't know how to be him. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
And so, yeah, I think that's the thing. And it's like, good or bad, be you is what I guess I do. I always think, like, there's so many people who think that I have it all together, and then some days I'm like a mess, and I'm like who am I type of thing.
Yeah.
But that is what makes you your personality, and I think it's part of it. Humans are crazy. Like, honestly, we're all insane when it comes down to it. So that's what makes us cool.
I'm so glad somebody else believes
Yeah,
this. I've
it's
always
true.
thought it, and hearing it from someone else, I'm just like, yes, I'm not completely insane. Just quickly before we wrap things up, it has been an insane year for you. You're obviously on your Illuminate World Tour right now. You've performed multiple award shows, the AMAs, the VMAs, the EMAs. You've won so many awards, I can't even count them all. For you, what has been the one highlight of the year? If there is one, or maybe two.
When I played 2 shows at the O2 in London, England, and I played 2 shows at the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, which is like the main arena. And I know, and it's like, those are different from all the awards and everything, but to me, like, that's the biggest accomplishment, is when you get on stage in front of your family and friends and another 15,000 people 2 nights in a row. That is really cool. That was cool for me.
That's awesome.
So special. I just want to quickly touch on your album, working on it at the moment.
Yeah.
Last I heard, you had like 25 songs written, but you were still going.
Tons of songs. I'm like I said, I'm going through like this thing of what am I supposed to write about right now, but all of a sudden it's like a month before it releases and you're like, oh, it's clear what it is I wrote about. And so I'm just trying to write as many songs and get everything out of me, and then I'll get it all together. So right now I don't really have much to say about it, to be honest. I think it's great, though.
Squirrel,
I
right?
hope it's great.
Did you just say it releases in a month?
No, I say like a month before.
Oh,
A
okay.
month before. I was like, wait, what? Back up the
No,
bus.
Hang on a
Okay.
minute.
If it was releasing in a month, I probably would be freaking out right now.
You'd probably
I
be
was
like, I
freaking out for
can't
a
be
second.
here.
Yeah,
I
I have to
say
go
what?
finish it.
Awesome, Shawn. Thank you so much.
Cheers,
Enjoy
guys.
the show on Saturday.
Awesome.